What do the Hopi Indians, Adolf Hitler, Tibetan monks, and Icelanders have in common? Their belief in the idea that the Earth is hollow. Their belief that the Earth is not just physically hollow, but that this inner place, this inner realm, is the source of paradise. Scores of myths talk about it, in every country, in every culture. Is it true? We don't know. But join us as we begin our journey to discover the truth about the hollow Earth. The hollow Earth has many mythical names. It's been called the land beyond the poles, Valhalla, Utopia, the Garden of Eden. Is it the Avalon of Camelot described in the Arthurian legends? Who knows? Maybe all these names describe the same place, a real place. In Tibet,
Agartha.
in Egypt,
Amerta.
in Iceland.
Asgarth.
John Blofield writes in The Tantric Mysticism of Tibet, if, as the cynics would have it, this mystical experience is sheer illusion, the stuff of dreams, it is strange that men and women belonging to widely different environments have, throughout the centuries, suffered the same delusions and dreamed the same dream. Hollow Earth. In many legends, it is described as paradise lost, lost to the people here in the outer world. For some, it is a place where the great ancients live, the people who hold the wisdom of the universe. Some say it is a place of perpetual light, where the inhabitants of Atlantis reside. In Iceland, belief in the hollow Earth, or Ultima Thule, as a physical, mystical place is very common. In fact, most of the Icelandic folklore originates with this belief. To some Buddhists, it is a holy place, a place of great spiritual power. Other modern-day believers say the hollow Earth is not the source of great knowledge, but rather the source of the greatest government cover-up ever known. That the hollow Earth is actually connected to every major conspiracy theory in more ways than one. And to some people, the Earth is hollow, yes, but it is inhabited by aliens who wish to colonize our planet, malevolent beings waiting to do us great harm. Finally, there are those who firmly believe that all of the UFOs we've seen in our skies come not from other planets, but rather from within the Earth itself. So many different believers, so many different beliefs, some inspirational, some quite terrifying. It's a paradox. And this paradox is what makes the journey to discover the hollow Earth such a fascinating study. Let's look at some scientific data. Now, we do have one indisputable hard fact. Our perception of the universe is changing every second. New discoveries have redefined our definitions of time and space. And as physics and metaphysics continue to cross paths, as hard science continues making new discoveries, our perception and awareness of reality will change drastically. Could there be a way to make a journey into the inner realm, a real physical place inside the Earth, and by doing so, by going to the center of the Earth, bring paradise to mankind here on the outer Earth? There is a group of researchers who work with the International Society for the Complete Earth. This team of researchers has examined every aspect of the hollow Earth for the last 15 years.
There's one thing we're certain of. We're looking for an answer to a question. Is the Earth, in fact, hollow and populated with a race with advanced knowledge and technology? If so, what does this mean for the world?
In the Western world, the idea has been explored by many modern writers. H.G. Wells, Aldous Huxley, Hermann Hesse. As the author of Lost Horizon, James Hilton writes about Shangri-La, a lost paradise. Sound familiar? And the most famous of all, Jules Verne's A Journey to the Center of the Earth. One of his characters says, "A magnificent, glorious spectacle. Do you not admire this place and these crystals? But we must have returned to the surface of Mother Earth. If not, I must be mad. For do I not see the light of day? Do I not hear the whistling of the wind? Ah, our geological science must be in its infancy." A myriad of books, all exploring the idea of a hidden paradise in a secret place. Now, what prompted all of these writers to write of this lost and hidden paradise? Random thoughts? Maybe. It's well documented how the Eastern world looks at the idea of the hollow earth. In religion, it's considered a true geographic and metaphysical place. Many Tibetan monks won't even discuss the location of the secret entrances to the hollow earth. Some Buddhists, when they talk about the journey within, they mean the journey within the soul and the journey within the earth. When asked if the inner earth wasn't just some imaginary place or the paradise of the mind, the Dalai Lama stated emphatically, "No, definitely not. Shambhala has a material existence in this world." There are certain places in the world which are considered geographical access points, like Mount Pago Pansum in Tibet, Stonehenge in England, Mount Shasta in California, certain caverns in South America, caves at the bottom of the ocean floor, and of course, the openings at the North and South Poles. The Western idea that the Earth was hollow began in the scientific community in 1628, when British astronomer Edmund Halley, of comet fame, proposed,
"I believe the Earth consists of concentric spheres like a Chinese puzzle box. These spheres support life and are bathed in perpetual light."
Halley also had definite ideas about the aurora borealis.
Now we know the world is flattened at the poles, so the outer layer of the Earth, the outer layer of my Chinese box, could be thinner, allowing gas to escape from the interior of the Earth.
Then along came John Sims with his Sims holes theory in the 1800s.
Halley was right about the concentric spheres, but he missed the openings at the poles, the oceans flowing in and out of these openings, and I feel there is no doubt there are also inhabitants inside the Earth.
Sims' theory caused enough excitement to inspire Congress and the President of the United States, John Quincy Adams, to finance the Wilkes Sea Expedition. Led by Lieutenant Charles Wilkes, it was the first major American sea quest to locate and explore the hollow earth. President Adams exclaimed,
"I am fascinated by the possibilities. We need to be willing to go forward in discovering new lands, expanding our horizons. I say give them the money. This could be the greatest discovery since America."
The Smithsonian was created to house all the artifacts found during the sea quest. It's true. The Smithsonian and the hollow earth. Perhaps new discoveries from the hollow earth found on future expeditions will end up in the Smithsonian. In 1929, Marshall B. Gardner, the author of A Journey to the Earth's Interior, or Have the Poles Really Been Discovered, wrote,
"I find all the previous theories to be somewhat on the right track, but in addition, I believe the interior of the Earth is being illuminated by a sun that is approximately 600 miles in diameter, and the holes at the poles are definitely over 1,000 miles in diameter."
Gardner went on to challenge all claims made by any explorers who had previously found the poles. One of the most controversial hollow earth theorists was Cyrus Teed, who declared in 1897,
"We actually live inside the Earth. We live on the inner surface of the shell, and inside of the hollow are the sun, moon, stars, planets, and comets. There is absolutely nothing on the outside. The inside is all there is."
Tiede held steadfast to this belief for 40 years. Now, the Tiede cult survived into the 1940s and gained supporters in Germany when an aviator named Peter Bender became convinced that Tiede was right. The movement gained serious momentum in Germany and became known there as the Hollow Earth Society. It still flourishes there to this day. Karl Haushofer, Rudolf Hess, and eventually Adolf Hitler himself became enmeshed in Hollow Earth beliefs. Now, always fascinated by the occult, Hitler and his secret Thule Society sought contact with what he believed to be their gods that lived within the center of the earth. But more about Hitler later. Even into the 1950s, interest in the Hollow Earth flourished. Dr. Raymond Bernard, who wrote the book, The Hollow Earth, began a settlement in South America for people who wanted to join him on his quest to discover the entrance to the Hollow Earth. In the 1960s, Dr. Bernard disappeared into the caverns of South America. Believers say he made it to the center of the earth. Disbelievers say he died lost and alone. Today, the Hollow Earth theory has many ardent supporters. In addition to the ISCE quarterly newsletter, there are books, magazines, and publications from all over the world. But now, we must go back to Hitler. Terrifying, fascinating Hitler. The Hollow Earth and Hitler are deeply connected. In 1942, the Nazis became involved in explorations of the South Pole, creating their version of spacecraft built to investigate the Hollow Earth. There is even documentation of several Nazi adventures that involved the Hollow Earth. At one point, they sent Dr. Heinz Fischer, an expert in infrared rays, to the island of Rügen in the Baltic. Why the Baltic? Because the Nazis not only thought that our Earth was hollow, but they embraced Halley's concentric rings theory as well. You see, they thought that our Earth was in the hollow of another planet. So, Dr. Fischer thought that by turning his camera upwards toward the sky, he could, by reflection off that outer shell up there, get a very good picture of the British fleet in English waters. There were, and are today, many people who believe that Hitler's remains, his ashes, and gold stolen during the war were taken by submarine to the Hollow Earth after World War II.
The ICE researchers discovered a startling event that occurred in 1947. A skirmish in Antarctic waters involving 3 German U-boats and Admiral Richard Byrd, called Operation High Jump. The U-boat 530 volunteered to surrender in Argentina. After it unloaded and hid an undisclosed amount of cargo and billions of dollars in gold, silver, etc. The U-boat 209, it had disappeared.
A former U-boat crewman on UB-530, interviewed by the ISCE research team, stated,
Yes, 2 U-boats went to Antarctica in the final days of the war. Not for sightseeing. We had spaceship stations in Argentina and Antarctica. Stations for our Foo Fighters, you know. The Nazi unexplained mystery. The little flying spheres which scared the Allied pilots. But to the point, our subs were on a special mission, delivering the Fuhrer's remains to his final resting place in the Hollow Earth. Because remember, Hitler's remains were never found in Germany. And U-boats were in Argentina after the war in 1947. These are all documented events.
Now, this brought the ISCE research team face to face with a recurring puzzle. Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd seemed to be connected somehow to the Hollow Earth theory. Every path brought the researchers back to Byrd. Now, it's been well documented that Byrd flew over the North Pole and made many other polar flights. It's also a matter of record that Byrd spent months on end alone at Little America in Antarctica. Why? And why did Admiral Byrd engage in a conflict with Nazi U-boats in 1947? Now, the most intriguing Byrd mystery of all is the February 1947 flight over the North Pole. Now, this alleged flight may also have taken Byrd into the interior of the Earth, where he saw lush green landscapes, prehistoric animals, and was greeted by benevolent beings. The diary in which Byrd accurately recorded all of his adventures on this flight is now missing. The ISCE research team has been investigating this. In several phone interviews with his daughter, Bolling Byrd Clark, she verified,
"My father has always kept careful diaries of his travels, and he definitely had a personal diary that is missing. It is not among his artifacts at the University of Ohio. I want to know if this alleged diary is his. I do feel it is possible that the Earth is hollow, but I don't know. Since this February 1947 flight has been uncovered, my family has been exposed to many hoaxers. I want to know the truth."
Byrd seems to have had curious, otherworldly encounters before on his polar expeditions. He describes in his book, Alone, written in Little America, of seeing a star that he could not identify. Now remember, this is the same pilot who flew over the poles using only the stars in the sky to navigate.
"I have just seen a curious phenomenon at 9 p.m. I couldn't identify it at first. It appeared to be a ball of fire which was smaller and redder than the sun. I got the field glasses and it changed from deep red to silver. Every now and then it blanked out. It was astonishing how big it looked at first. I saw it in the southeast, a star so bright as to be startling. I yielded for an instant to the fantastic notion that someone was trying to signal me. That thought came to me again this afternoon. It's a queer sort of star which appears and disappears irregularly, like the winking of a light."
Had Byrd actually seen a UFO signaling him from the South Pole opening? Perhaps. Another paradox. Charles Lindbergh was told by none other than the navigator from Admiral Byrd's famous 1927 North Pole flight that he and Byrd had actually missed the pole altogether.
"I wanted to be the first to take that polar flight. I am willing to secure financing to help establish the true polar identity. And also, while we're there, we can do some extra investigation. I've been following this hollow earth theory for some time. Maybe we can change the face of science once and for all."
There are many stories about people who've lived in the inner realm and sent communications back to their loved ones. The ISCE is in possession of a letter written by a former Nazi U-boat crewman to his comrades back in Germany. The curious thing about this letter is that it was written after the submarine disappeared on a mission to Antarctica. The letter arrived in Germany in 1947, years after the war. The handwriting was verified by the man's family.
20 April 1947. Dear old comrade, this news will be a surprise for you. The submarine 209 made it. The Earth is hollow. The whole crew is well, but they cannot come back. We are not prisoners. This is your last connection with the submarine 209. With hearty greetings, your friend, Hans.
Does all this seem curious or even outlandish? Well, perhaps. But consider this analogy. The Loch Ness Monster is a fantastic example of a folklore legend that has become a case study for hard science. Is Nessie truth or fantasy? Well, reasonable people have sworn they've seen the monster, so scientists have gone to look for it. They've raised money. They've gone on expeditions. There have been photos of Nessie that have been studied, and some have been exposed as hoaxes, fakes, but others have been verified, making hardcore skeptics and scientists change their minds. So, as science continues to explore the universe, our perception of reality changes. Now, what does hard science have to say about geophysical planet Earth? It's hard, molten iron with a mantle crust. No, that's already old news. Newsweek, Scientific American, and New Scientist, to name a few, have written about the new theory of what constitutes the Earth's core. Scientists feel that the core could be a new, never-before-seen, mysterious form of iron, Scientists are reevaluating their idea of the temperature of the Earth's core. The new thought, it could be cooler. Cool enough to sustain life forms? Infrared mapping of the Earth has shown underground caverns and inner continents inside the Earth. Now that could make room for paradise inside the Earth's crust. Reality changes again. Now, with these new thoughts in mind, the ISCE researchers feel that anything is possible, especially concerning the hollow Earth. Most importantly, the ISCE is committed to making a journey to discover the hollow Earth, to see if Sims was right, if there are really openings at the poles, to actually reenact Byrd's famous February 1947 flight over the North Pole.
I'm the operations manager for the ISCE. I've been involved with Danny Weiss and the research now for about 15 years. We've been gathering information from books and all sorts of other sources leading up to this big adventure. We've got a lot of people interested now in our reenactment of the North Pole flight. And we have people from all walks of life. We have other fellow researchers interested in the physical and geophysical possibilities of it. We have metaphysical people who are interested in that possibility. We have UFO people. We have teachers, a doctor, obviously a pilot.
This adventure is being undertaken in association with the Icelandic government. The flight will begin in Iceland, then fly to Spitsbergen, and then fly across the pole and beyond. We want to put this mystery to rest.
In anticipation of the trip, we're trying to build the biggest possible library and data bank and resource center of videos or books, materials, magazines, anything we can find relating to the subject. We want to gather it all into one central storehouse and be the world's source on the subject if possible.
As the skies over the North Pole have opened up with the close of the Cold War, Weiss has been rapidly putting together this daring reenactment to see if the truth can be found. Now, if you have any questions on books or materials about the hollow Earth, or more importantly, if you're an adventurer and would like to join this journey to the center of the Earth, please contact the International Society for a Complete Earth. This could be the most exciting adventure of your life. As Shakespeare wrote, there are more things in your heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Thank you for joining us.